So, after a quick costume change, I had to change from my previous shirt to my Smackdown shirt for my Smackdown review. Friday night Smackdown to be exact. So, I guess you could say this was a decent, okay show, you know. Things happened, and I made it seem worse than it was. It was really okay. So I wouldn't say it's a stretch to say good, but let me get into it. So they start off with recapping previous events. Michael Cole and them talked about the fact that this was the 1200 episode. And then we got a random somebody just walked past the camera, and it turns out to be Ronda Rousey. So with that, they kicked off the show with Ronda Rousey demanding that she have her suspension lifted, and that the show won't start until Adam Pearce get out there and basically lift her suspension. To which Adam Pearce eventually came out and told her that it's not as easy as him lifting, uplifting her suspension, and that is above his pay grade. So she basically still demanded it and wouldn't get out the ring. To which he said, "You know what? Fine. If you're not gonna get out the, I want you to leave out the ring peacefully." And then she said, "I already did that last week," and she said, "This week, don't make me get violent." But Adam Pearce, without seeing that Ronda is not going to leave, called for security. She beat up security. And then he called for local police to arrest her and take her to jail. But it would be said somewhere later on in the show that Michael Cole would mention that Ronda was released because Adam Pearce decided, not to press charges. When we get to the first match of the night, which is I think the last of the first round matches of the women's tag team tournament, with Sonya Deville and Natalya versus not Nikki Lyons and Zoe Stark, but Toxic Attractions, Gigi Dolan and JC James. Now, according to the story that's being told, the reason why it was changed from Zoe Stark and Nikki Lyons to Toxic Attraction, which was because I guess this past Tuesday on NXT, Zoe Stark suffered a concussion in her match with Mandy Rose, and they just said Zoe Stark was not available due to medical reasons. This was announced by Shawn Michaels. The concussion part is I don't know how 100% that is, but that's what it's being reported, that the reason why she wasn't available due to a concussion she suffered. But it just said, but I think Shawn Michaels, all he said was that she was just unavailable due to an injury, and they said that injury was a concussion. So yeah, they got replaced by Toxic Attraction, and it was a good match. And I always thought that the tag team, because I always knew there was going to be a tag team from NXT for this women's tag team tournament. And I always thought it was going to be Toxic Attraction, but when they said it was going to be Zoe Stark and Nikki Lyons, I was just like, that's weird. Why not the former women's tag team champions on NXT be in the tournament? But whatever. And then a weird twist of fate, they end up being in the tournament anyway. So the match was good. It wasn't the best match to start off the show with, but it wasn't the worst, and it was definitely a good match. And Toxic Attraction actually got the win. They will face Raquel and Aaliyah next week. While Dakota Kai, I was about to mention them. Dakota Kai, Bailey, and Io Sky did show up during the match to talk Michael Cole and scout the match itself. And speaking of which, they will be facing Io Sky and Dakota Kai will be facing Alexa Bliss and Asuka Monday, I think. And I'm also hearing Trish Stratus is going to be on the show Monday. So then we got a promo like I forgot to mention, after Ronda was taken into the police car, taken away, a truck pulled up and saw Roman Reigns. This will be where we later on we get a Roman Reigns, where I call a Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn segment, where Sami Zayn doing his usual, about to go into the tribal chief office, but he is actually Sami is told by security that's standing at the office that he's actually being requested by Roman Reigns. So for the first time in the storyline, Roman Reigns actually did want to see Sami Zayn, and basically they just talked about how he did tell Roman about his frustration with Jay and how Jay's been on him lately, but that he will be in this fatal five-way to determine the #1 contender for Gunther at Clash at the Castle. And Roman Reigns actually liked that idea and told Sami that the idea of the IC title being with the Bloodline sounds good, which means Roman Reigns does want Sami. If Sami wants to prove himself to the Bloodline, he wants Sami to bring the Bloodline the IC title. So, with that being said, Sami got hit. During the segment too, Sami had Roman made Sami answer his phone. Turned out to be Jay, just out of nowhere, even though they were just talking about Jay. So Sami answered the phone and told and got scolded. It seemed like from Jay, you couldn't hear it, but apparently he was getting yelled at, scolded, and that he had to tell Roman. Basically, he wanted Sami to tell Roman that due to borders and stuff like that, the Usos was not going to be able to make it to Smackdown. Roman was all by himself, except he got Sami. Then we got a Maximum Male Models promo where they was in the ring and basically, I think Roman gave Sami some encouragement about winning the match tonight. But then we got the Maximum Male Models promo where they was talking about titillating the juices again. Then they would get interrupted by Hit Row, who would beat up the Maximum Male Models and then go on to have a rap concert. To which, out of nowhere, in the middle of their rap concert, Maxine Dupree came out and started getting down with it with the Hit Row concert. But then Max came out. It was like, hey, what are you doing? I don't know. That was a weird segment, but it was better with Hit. I guess the concert with Hit Row, I would take that over the Maximum Male Models. I was talking about this with this group of people I talked with in this chat about WWE wrestling in particular. I want him to go back to being LA Knight because he was better at LA Knight, and this Maximum Male Model stuff is boring. After all that, we get to the second match of the night, which was Sheamus versus Sami Zayn versus Rick Moss versus Baron Corbin versus Ricochet for a shot at the Intercontinental Championship. This was a good match. Now this was a good match. Everybody got their time to shine. Sami Zayn was the hometown favorite. They cheered for him heavily. The crowd was solely behind Sami Zayn winning. This is the first time in a long time I've seen the crowd this behind Sami Zayn, and they really wanted him to win. But Sheamus would end up getting the victory here. Sami actually almost won. I think that's how Sheamus got the victory because I think he was about to get the pinfall, but then Sheamus got him out the ring. Or it was either Baron Corbin and then somebody got bro kicked by Sheamus and pinned. Did I have all the people right in that match? Yeah, Sheamus, Sami, Moss, Baron Corbin. Yeah, that was fine. Yeah, everybody looked good though. I wanted to say that before I go on to the next segment. Everybody looked good. It was some good spots in there. This wasn't a bad match at all. It was a good match. But yeah, Sheamus got the victory here. The Viking Raiders did their whole funeral, their little funeral to the Usos, to the New Day, and told them their last battle was yet to come. I guess you could say the main event match was Liv Morgan versus Shotzi Blackheart. And they had a decent match with Liv Morgan getting the victory here. But the real kicker was after the match where Liv got beat up and attacked by Shayna Baszler. I guess you could say the main event was a promo of the Drew McIntyre and Roman face to face. And Roman basically came out, did his intro, his little interest, and then basically talked about how people was, since he's not here a lot, people are tend to say some dumb stuff, talking about how people were lying. And he basically said, anybody say that the face of the company is not me, and anybody say that the main event and it's not me, they're liars. And then he talked about what Drew said on Monday about if anybody said they carried this company on their back and it's not me. He said, Drew, you're a liar. He said, I don't need to say nothing to Drew because Drew's beneath me, but Drew would come out and interrupt and tell him that he doesn't deserve to be champion, and that he could see fear in him because he had nobody with him, that he's vulnerable, and that's a unique opportunity to fight. And which they did. They fight and brawl. I'm about to say Roman. Drew got the best of Roman, and he was about to get a Claymore kick, but Sammy would come out of nowhere, push Roman out the way. Sammy would take the Claymore kick. Roman with Superman punch, would get ready to spear him, but he ended up getting Claymore kick anyway for Drew to stand tall to end the show. So, with that being said, this show was a decent show. It wasn't the best under the Triple H era, but it had to be a little down episode in between all these good episodes he's been producing so far. Sometimes it gets a little down, but he made sure that this episode wasn't a bad episode. It was a decent. Like I was going to say, the only thing I didn't like was the Maximum Male Models thing. But when Hit Row came out, it got a pass because at least Hit Row came out and had an entertaining and yet somewhat fun concert. So yeah, with that being said, I'm going to give this episode a 7 out of 10. Big ups, because it wasn't a bad episode, it wasn't a good episode. It was an okay episode. Yeah, that's all. I really got nothing else to say. It was just an okay episode, and I guess the one thing I will say to end this is that I can't believe I'm going to say this. Triple H actually got me excited to watch Smackdown and Raw every week, even though the champion is not there. Somehow he's pulled that off. But anyway, if you enjoyed this, then you hit this button right there in the upper right corner for all of my WWE reviews. And if you enjoyed this video so much you want to support the channel, all you got to do, press those buttons. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of this review and of the episode of SmackDown itself. And as always, any one of these videos for more amazing content. But like I said, gameplay and maybe some reactions coming your way. Peace.